Hello and welcome to Gaelic Football Views on CavanTV.com. Yeah, welcome to Gaelic Football Views. As Mickey already said, on tonight's show we'll have the results from the club games that took place over the weekend, as well as reaction from the men's, the ladies, the minor teams of the county who are playing over the weekend. We'll bring you an interview that Mickey done earlier on today with Cavan senior football manager Terry Hyland after the draw for round 2A of the qualifiers. And most importantly, the most important thing on the show is we have all the results from the Denn Legends Tournament, which took place at the weekend, the first round of it.
Is that on Legends or Leg Ends?
It's Leg Ends.
Leg Ends,
It's definitely Leg Ends.
First up, we're going to kick off with some Breffni League results, and the Brady's Arva Volkswagen Breffni League Division 1B. First game in this saw Crushlaw taking on Drumlane, and the visitors Drumlane came away with a victory here, a 2-point victory. Crushlaw 1-9, Drumlane 2-8. The juggernaut from Drumlane is still flying at the moment, Damien. And just to let you know,
there's been some comments about us.
There's been some comments.
I've heard these.
Yeah. I was talking to an insider from Drumlane just to let you know that young Corrigan is not.
Oh, he's young Corrigan.
He's young Corrigan.
Yes.
He's not actually managing the team.
Oh, sorry.
No, the selectors that were there are actually managing the team.
Oh, very
at the minute.
good.
Yeah,
very good.
But he was delighted to be named as a person that was taking over the team.
Oh, very good.
He's playing good football, and he told me they're really enjoying it at the minute out there.
So I've heard, and I've also heard that they took a clip from last week's show where we called them the elder statesman.
Yes.
And Patch wasn't too happy about it.
No, he wasn't. But he's taken it on the chin. Like he's done
like
before.
He always does. Great man for taking it on the chin.
Glass chin, as they say. But and then there's a couple of other. I believe that the two we've spoken a couple of times about the O'Dowds.
Yes,
Dane O'Dowd and
they were included in that bracket of elder statesmen.
They were indeed,
and it's probably wrongly so.
Yes.
In fact, it's definitely wrongly so.
Yes.
Once you're on the right side of 30,
29 and 27.
29 and 27. They don't deserve to be in that bracket. But the mental thing is, I suppose, on a serious point of view, how long are they around playing senior football? How long has John O'Dowd been talked about as one of the best fullbacks in the county? Mm-hmm. And you know, I kind of associated for maybe 10 years or more, and he probably is for 10 years or more. But it shows how long he's been in that position, and maybe without the recognition that he deserves, because he's a wonderful fullback.
Yes.
Well done to Drumlane.
Dane, the older looking one.
The older looking
one with the younger one. Yeah.
Benjamin Button
would be the brother.
Exactly, John. Yes. Yeah.
But another great win for Drumlane, and flying at the moment, and definitely one to watch this summer.
Exactly. A good young panel. Killygarry were taking on Gowna up in Crubany, and they came away with a victory here, a 3-point win. So it finished 2 goals and 8 points to Killygarry and 11 points to Gowna. So another win for Killygarry. They're winning some, losing some. I think they're still finding their feet. It's probably typical of a manager just trying to get to know the panel, trying things out.
They're trying to be like the minor team. They're trying to play expansive football. They don't want to play defensive football. They want to go out and play 15 on 15 and keep their 6 forwards. And sometimes that can
go against you.
But unlike the minor management, I suppose, the Cavan minor management, the Cavan minor management on Sunday knew that the sweeper needed to be deployed in the second half, as you know. You were talking
to later on,
and they did it, whereas Killygarry probably don't do that often enough.
Okay.
But they're a very young team, very young team, and they've got some fine footballers in there.
As we'll see when we talk about the county minors later on, there is a number of Killygarry players on that team. But well done to Killygarry anyway on a good victory against Gowna.
That's right. The next game saw Breffni League Division 2 between Baileyborough and Drumley. This was down in Baileyborough, and Drumley got a well-needed win here on a scoreline of 10 points to 6. A wonderful win there for Drumley, having had some big losses in recent times. And Baileyborough, one of the stronger sides in that division, to come away with a 4-point victory was a great win for Drumley.
Yeah, it was. In fairness, from what I've heard of it, Drumley had a few players back that have been missing for a long time, and they need everybody. They need everybody available, and that's that's something that was badly needed in Drumley. Pick up a win, bit of confidence start to come, maybe training numbers start to increase with the confidence of it, with the enjoyment of getting a victory. Hopefully the lads get out and start putting in a good effort. And look, it's not too late in the season to turn things around.
Absolutely, because it's going to be August before the end of July, start of August before championship is played.
Exactly, depending on how Cavan go. Actually, that has been released that if Cavan are knocked out in the next round or the round after, the preliminary round of the intermediate and the senior championship will be played on I think the date is the 19th of July, second last weekend.
That's the preliminary
in July.
round.
That's preliminary. So first round proper is the last weekend in July.
Yeah.
So they need to be ready for that. Clubs are getting into championship mode now.
There's 5 or 6 weeks. You can do a lot of work in that.
That's exactly it. So the next result was the Riverfront Hotel Breffni League Division 3 round 9, and Corla were taking on Cornafin. This was down in West Cavan in Corla, and Cornafin came away with a 5-point victory here. It finished 12 points to Corla and a goal and 14 to Cornafin. So a good win for Cornafin, but a good game by the sounds of it.
And not only that, but for Corla, Cornafin have been blasting teams away in recent times, and Corla, who are usually the whipping boys of that division, they weren't.
Times are changing there.
Times are changing. They've got a couple of wins, 3 wins under their belt this year and stuff, and they are starting to, make progress and give teams a little bit of a worry in games.
Teams aren't thinking, geez, this is going to be an easy one anymore, and that's great to see. And well done to all involved in Corla and in bringing up the standard of it. And congratulations, obviously, to Cornafin. It was a good win. There was one All-County Football League game on, and this was last night. That saw Killincare taking on Muncher Connacht. It was up in Killincare at 8 o'clock, and the home side came away with a victory here. It finished 2 goals and 11 points. It's down as, but I think it was 2-12. But anyway, we'll not split. We'll not split hairs over to Muncher Connacht 6 points.
Because that point would have made a difference in that.
It would have in the end.
Come here, you were at this game, David.
I was at this game, surprisingly enough, Mickey. All right again. Good win. We got off to a very good start. I think we got up maybe by 5-6 points early on in the game and kind of never looked back from it. Damien Sexton scored a wonderful goal after a defence splitting pass by Darren Smith. So starting to get a few players back, still missing quite a few, but what's actually happening in Killincare is we're building a panel of players, because even though we were missing a number of players, we used 6 subs, and every one of them to come on made an impact as well.
Good stuff.
It was good. We had the likes of Jason McMahon back. Louis Fay Cooper played for us in the second half.
Brilliant.
Some
straight from Kingsburn Breffni Park.
Exactly. Come up the road with myself and tugged out and played. A great lad, and we'll talk about his performance for Cavan later on, but he had a wonderful game for us. Jason McMahon had to go off at half-time with a head injury, and Louis came in, such a replacement to be able to bring absolutely wonderful. So it was a great win, much needed. It puts a little bit of breathing space between ourselves and the bottom end of the table, so we're happy with that, but now it's still not job done yet. There's a lot to go.
Couple of games left to make sure you're safe in that. So we'll move on anyway to the well done, Damien.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We'll move on to the Den Legends Tournament. Castlerahan and Ballyhaise kicked off this Legends Cup with Ballyhaise coming out on top with a 2-7 to 1-7 scoreline. I think that game was played on Friday night, was it?
That was Friday evening. That was played on Friday evening, and as you said, the goals win games. That extra one goal. It was phenomenal, and you'll see the victorious Ballyhaise team. We have a picture of them pretty much ready to come up there. We hope it's Ballyhaise are in glorious sunshine, you'll see there. Yeah. But a few people now, I can't say I know them all. You can't miss the big man McCrudden in the middle there. I think that's Jerry. I see Anthony Lyons there. I see Don Gorby there.
That's right, yeah. Don Gorby down there, third in from the right.
I'd have to question his eligibility. Yeah. So I would, but anyway, we'll not split hairs. at this point. But
jeez, that must be the phrase of the day. Well, just looking at the team there as well, Damien, fine specimens of men.
Exactly. I got this picture from Twitter, and I seen one of the comments saying, geez, them jerseys are well stretched, and it was one of the players who's wearing a jersey. But they're a great.
Are they not the new look jerseys that all the teams are wearing these days? They're just the tight jerseys.
Armagh started it a few years ago, and now Cavan people are just filling out the jerseys the way Armagh did a few years. Exactly the same. There's no difference.
The Cavan didn't want to buy the skinny jersey, so they said the best way to do it is to fill the jersey out yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and they were playing, as you say, Castlerahan, and you can see the Castlerahan team up there again. Some fine looking men now, in fairness, in great shape.
Won that game.
Ballyhis won that game. Yeah.
Yeah, just looking at the picture there, right? Just looking at the picture.
They look a more organised outfit.
I wouldn't say organised, I'd say fitter. They do look. I'm not seeing as many stretched jerseys there. Yeah. And geez, that was a great win for Ballyhis then.
It was indeed now, and there's a right few aerodynamic haircuts there for the Castlerahan boys, but
the Castlerahan boys always take these tournaments serious.
They do.
You know,
they do. They're looking for any little inch.
Any little inch that they can get, shave the hair off, make yourself more aerodynamic.
That's it.
But it didn't work in the end.
No, it didn't.
You know, I suppose the problem Castlerahan had was the pitch was made an awful lot bigger, because to get around the man probably took them a while.
That's an old statement to come out. Congratulations to Ballyhis on that performance. Yes. So good to see it. The second game seen Lavey get the better of Mullahoran in a close encounter on a scoreline of 1-7 to 1-6. This was the shock of the tournament.
Yeah. Not only was it a shock, but I believe that this game had everything in it. There was a right bit of clipping going on in this one. There was a few scores settled, I believe, in this one, and the referee let it go. I believe
right.
There was fellas showing each other their knuckles at close range and stuff, and the referee let it go. There was a few clips going on. It was a right good hard game from what I've heard.
Yeah, a goal in 7 to a goal in 6. Now it's. Again,
not one for the purists.
Not one for the purists, but I'd like, by looking at all of the games, scores are hard come by in over 35s tournaments.
Yes, that's it.
They seem to be, but you'll see the Lavey team, in fact, the Lavey panel coming up on your screen, because they had a lot togged out now. They weren't stuck for numbers. What do we have there? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 players togged out. That's a big panel. Again, I'm gonna have to call rank on this. I'm gonna question the eligibility there of Darren Smith. I don't think that. I would say him and Mr. Tierney there, to his right hand side, both under 35 anyway, which is okay if you're stuck for numbers. But they have 22 togged out there.
That's it.
And
I see Ivo Fay is in there as well.
Yeah, I see Paul Brady as well, stuck in the middle. The only one I didn't see, actually, but that's because he was stuck over in London, Sean Maguire. I'm surprised he didn't fly home for that one. Although he's not quite there yet either. Hello to Sean.
He's on the bird.
He came over to say hello to me over in Ruislip. But yeah, they were taking on Mullahoran, who had less of a panel, you can see there. I make that the bare 15, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 players. Again, you could question eligibility there in one or two, but just one. Christy Shields played senior last year, I think, but you'd let them away with that.
Yeah, but he's well over 35.
Oh, he's definitely well over 35.
He's still eligible to play, is he not?
No, I don't think so, but I think the idea is that you haven't played senior or junior football within the last year for your club. But now I don't think it's strict.
Yeah, you couldn't. It'd be brilliant if you were able to get that amount of lads out to do that,
exactly.
that were eligible, full stop. But
exactly.
you know, to get these games going, they're going to have to probably bring in a few lads. And look, brilliant.
Looking
to
at
see
a few
it.
others there. Shawnee the Gunner is in that back row there. I'm looking. I think that's Porrick Shore.
Did they not have Peter?
No, Peter didn't tog out, but Mickey togged out. There's Mickey Brady. Referee Mickey is togged out as well there. I see Vincey Dolan there, Mr. Galligan as well there. That's not a bad team, I'll tell you what. A few years ago that would have been a damn good senior team in Cavan, so it would.
A right few years ago.
All right. Well done to the Mullahoran lads. They look at to put up a good battle.
They did indeed.
As they always do.
Yeah, that's for sure. there was no friends in that game, so there wasn't. And the final game on Saturday evening saw close neighbours Drummondlea and Killygarry take to the field, with Killygarry getting the upper hand on a scoreline of 3-1 goals and 5 to Drummond's 1 goal and 7. So
14
point win, or 14 to 10 point win there for Killygarry, and great to see the two teams out though. And you'll see there from the picture that will come up now, the Killygarry squad. They had a big squad. I believe that James Lovett was being marked. I think he was full forward.
Frankie.
Oh, Frankie Lovett.
Frankie Lovett,
Frankie Lovett was full forward, and he was very clever. The ball would come into him, and he was, let me see, how would you say this? He was using his rear end to knock lads away from the ball, and he turned, he gave one fella a clip with the side of the arse, knocked him flying, stuck the ball in the net. The new fella came in to mark him. The next thing is the ball came in, he hit him with the other side of the arse, turned him and stuck it in the net. So
Frankie never was, he was never one for not taking advantage when it was there in front of him. and if it was there behind him. But Frankie, I'll tell you one thing, he was always good at that though. He was always a little man to just use the space right. He was very good. But see Shawnee Maloney there, I see Paul Leonard. I'm trying to look, there are no many more of them. Mark Greeny's there. Damien Keeney.
Damien Keeney is there, right.
Quite a few. You can see Mr. Lovett. There might be 2 Lovetts tugged out there, but good to see lads.
See Harry Lynch must have been manager. I see.
He's right. He's there.
Charlie Noonan, a Cavan Gales man.
But he's got a black top on there, so he's.
Well, he's a Cavan Gales man, but he was playing. He
was
came on
playing?
as a sub. Yeah.
Right.
But he's part of the management team in Killygarry now at the minute. He's selected with the senior team.
Well, we'll give him a pass.
We'll give him a pass for that one.
Maybe, depending on how far they go.
Yeah, and he gives out about the amount of clubs I have.
And he's not talking about golf clubs. And there's the Drumlee team coming up there, so we'd know pretty much everyone there.
We would indeed. You've Tom Young, Cahill Buggy, a good Mead man there, Porrick Woods,
Mako, David McIntyre, Barry Egan, Benny Young,
Sean Woods. No, that's Declan Young.
Flood.
Declan Flood, sorry, yeah. I think that's Colin McCaffrey, is it?
Is it Colin McCaffrey? It is. It looks like him, yeah. Then you've Colin Flood. Connor Buckley, all the way from Chicago.
Porrick Lee, Thomas Lyons looking out. Look at the chest coming out in Thomas Lyons.
That's a pose and a half.
Loving it. Who's beside him? Is it Shawnee Lee? No, Shawnee Lee's the other side.
David Smith, is it? Is it Barney?
It
looks like David Smith. Maybe I'm wrong though.
No, I can't see from this picture who it is.
Shawnee Lee. Oh, actually, is it Fitzy? No, it's actually Paul Ty.
Paul Ty is right.
My apologies.
Paul Ty, Shawnee Lee,
Kevin Downey,
John Woods,
Fitzy.
Is
it Fitzy?
No, Uchi.
No, it's
Juki.
It's what's Juki's first name? Lynch.
That's the one. The next one is brilliant. You have Mickey Lee, and you have David.
You've David Malloy, but you've Stephen Smith.
Stephen Smith,
Mickey
I was leaving him to last.
Stephen Smith is right. That's absolutely wonderful to see.
Yeah, Stephen Smith, who just had a lung transplant last year, the year before last. It's just about a year and a half now, I'd say, since he had it, and to see him back on a football pitch is absolutely
in the Drumlee colours.
Colours is absolutely fantastic.
So Mickey Lee, David Malloy, and then Fred Lynch, Emmanuel Lynch.
Yes.
So, you know, and in the balance of it all, I'll say probably Fred Lynch might be ineligible there for Drumlee. But anyway.
God no, he got a fake birth cert during the week.
Oh, did he?
He got a fake birth cert during the week.
All
so
right.
He's not a bother on him.
He's all right. So Drumlee, unfortunately, going down to near neighbours Killygarry, that was a bitter pill to swallow. But I think the lads, they had lots to wash it down with after. Anyway.
They did, yeah. They had a few painkillers afterwards, is what you're saying.
They definitely did. On Sunday morning, as the Drumlee lads were going home, I think the last of the games, the last of the qualifiers, took on in Crosskeys. It was then against Crushlaw. This was a very close game, very enjoyable game apparently. Both sides finishing up at full time with 7 points apiece. So it went to extra time.
Oh, went to extra time?
It went to extra time, and in extra time it finished up 8 points apiece. So they got a point apiece in extra time in the 2 additional 5 minutes, and then it went to penalties. And I believe in penalties it finished
something
up.
That you rarely see in a game of Gaelic.
You very rarely see in the game of Gaelic. It finished up Crushlaw 3 and Den 1. So Crushlaw got the better of the Den Legends to progress to the next one. I heard a story on the way into Breffni Park, the Den Ushers.
Kingspan Breffni Park.
Apologies. The Keysborough Breffni Park, the Den ushers at the back were telling me about John Smith lining up to take the penalty, and his mother was saying, "Geez, John, he's not great at taking these penalties at all," and he put it over the bar, and she nearly had a heart attack. She was that disappointed. So it was
she was that happy that he didn't miss altogether. He got a point, like,
exactly, he put it over the bar. But well done to Crushala. We'll see the Den team there coming up. You see the treasurer there right in the middle with the yellow and white jersey of the county board, Martin Cahill. See Mousy Kiernan now, I'm not too sure if that's legal. He definitely played senior football last year.
He did, but he's definitely about 40. So that makes him eligible in my book. You've all the Smiths, you have Hubert, you have
I see John. I don't see Martin there though.
No.
You have...
I do, I see Martin.
Oh, do you? Martin's
yeah.
there. You've Donohoe Brady, you have Fergal Brady, you have, who else have we got on that lineup?
Oh, you've Martin there at the back, 3 in from the left anyway. You have a right few Den boys there anyway, so you do.
You've lots of them.
Now on, what we'll have to do is we'll have to get them to send in the names.
So for next week's show.
Because you probably wouldn't recognise
You've Wiggy's brother-in-law, I can't think of his name, my mind's gone blank on it.
Jerome Kiernan?
No, we'll come back to it. But the Crushala team then is coming up now on your screen. And now, do I know any of these lads?
I wonder if any of the Smiths are there, or Donald or Philip.
No, don't think so. I looked at it earlier on. Is that Pat Shalvey? There? Pat Shalvey I think is there. All right. We're going to need a team. That's Michael Higgins in the back row anyway.
Oh yeah, well he's definitely there. Yeah. And sticking out the chest as well.
He's there on merit, in fairness to him. He's definitely there. We don't. Now the screen's a bit far away, so
would any of them been part of the team that won the 7 in a row?
I think that is them. I think that's the whole lot of them. So it is. So anyway, what that means now is that this coming Saturday, the Shield semi-finals will take place at 4:30 in Crosskeys. The first of them, on one pitch you'll have Den against Castlereaghan, and then on the other pitch you'll have Mullahoran against Drumalee. So that's
nice.
On 4:30 this coming Saturday.
Yeah, and then at 5:30 you'll have the Cup semi-finals, and that'll see Killygarry taking on Lavey on one pitch and Crushala taking on Ballyhaise on the second pitch. Now, that's all provided that no game goes to extra time or goes to penalties at the end of it, so it is, you know. And I don't think the lads want to see that happening again. No. These lads wouldn't be fit for it, so they wouldn't.
Yeah, I think at the end of the Crushala Den game, they actually said, lads, we'll just toss a coin, but the rules were they weren't allowed. They just didn't want to play. They were that tired. So can we not just go to the pub and toss a coin? But no, so that means then the Shield final will take place at 6:30 in Crosskeys.
Yeah, and at 7:30 you'll have the Legends Cup final, and the winners of that will be given the trophy, and they will be this year's inaugural winners of the tournament.
Yes, exactly. And if the first weekend is anything to go by, next weekend is going to be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. There was great attendance this weekend gone by. Again, entry to all games will be free, but a donation box will be at the gate, so all donations will be accepted at the gate, with proceeds going to the Irish Heart Foundation and So Sad. So please do come out and support your legends. Bring your family, as on the day there will be something for everyone. Afterwards you can join us in the Carrick Springs for our presentation barbecue and a catch up with old friends and share some legendary stories.
Yeah,
so that's going to be great.
It's definitely got the makings of a great night. Like if last weekend is anything to go by, from all the stories, because we couldn't make it, but from all the stories of talking to the lads, you know, it's been a success already.
Yes.
You know, and that's what it's about, bringing old friends back together and I suppose sharing those stories from old, you know, like, and everybody getting out and enjoying themselves. Absolutely brilliant. So as I say, get out in Crosskeys this coming Saturday. It's what's the date? June 29th, is it? No, the 23rd is 24, 25, 26, but 27th or something. Around the 27th. Yeah. This coming Saturday. Coming Saturday. So look, get out. 4:30 it all starts at, and there's loads of activities there for the family. 27th. The 27th, well said. Yeah.
So we'll move on now. The Cavan Miners were in the Ulster semi-final yesterday in Kingspan, Breffni Park. It was the curtain raiser to the senior game of Monaghan and Fermanagh, but the Cavan Miners came out with a wonderful victory here. 1 goal and 19 points to Antrim's 1 goal and 11, which means that they reached the Ulster final, which will take place on the 19th of July. It's the 6th year in a row that Cavan have made an underage Ulster final, which is a wonderful, wonderful achievement.
Absolutely
and
brilliant.
Congratulations.
At boys level, you know,
yes.
they're not including the women as well. Like so.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. And again, I wasn't able to make this game, Damien. I had a match down with myself yesterday. But I was listening to you on the radio. Tough first half against Antrim. Antrim had a couple of good nippy footballers. They deployed a defensive system by the sounds of things, and it took until the second half for Cavan to break it down. But when they broke it down, they really went at them. Yeah,
like the first half, I have to say, hats off to Antrim. Came out with a wonderful, wonderful system to counteract the way Cavan played against Monaghan. They had the homework done, they seen the strengths in Cavan, realised if you give them forward space, they were going to cause you trouble, so they got the numbers back. And then when they turned over possession, their transition in attack was so quick. Kick pass, into a scoring zone. It was always 2 kick passes into a scoring zone, into loads of space, and Cavan were exploited. They were opened up. Antrim scored 1 goal and 6, probably could have had another 2 or 3 scores. Maybe should have had another goal. There was one before they got the goal. There was one glaring chance where there was 2 kick passes. The second one was just overcooked, but had the number 22 for Antrim, I think it was Kevin Small, had he got onto the ball, he was in on goal.
And he was on a lot of ball. He scored a lot of points in the first half.
No, that was Connor Small.
Oh, Connor Small, was it?
Yeah, so it must be a brother, but it was Kevin Small that was on, could have been on the end of that. And both myself and Mickey Graham, who was filling in for you, were just saying there's holes in this Cavan defence at the minute that it's too easy for Antrim to pick out these passes. So, you know, the writing was on the wall, and all credit to the Cavan management. I can't state this enough. Everybody I've been talking to, I have to say the Cavan management were absolutely brilliant. Danny the Gunner spoke to me on Northern Sound after the game, and he was almost apologetic about having to put in the sweeper, but he said, what's the point in us losing to a team that we are better than by me being stubborn in the style of football that I want to play? We want to play man for man all the way, but when you're coming up against a system that's set up to exploit you like that, you have to react.
Have to do something,
and he did react. And the introduction of Louis Fay Cooper at centre back. Now Shane Fortune's a brilliant footballer, don't get me wrong, but he was giving Connor Small too much space, too much time on the ball. Louis Fay Cooper came in and just nullified him altogether. Small in the second half, I think he had 1 shot from open play, and it was the first time he turned onto his left foot to get the shot away because Louis had him tied up on his right. He had no option but to go on to the left foot, and he scored a point from open play, but that was the first one he got. He was completely curtailed, and the introduction of Reece Clark to come in and act as a sweeper just completely nullified everything that Antrim wanted to do, and then it gave lovely bit of freedom to Dylan Raythorne and David Wilson at wing half back, that the two of them either side of Louis Fay and Reece Clark could just drive on and attack.
And the 2 wing backs got 6 or 7 points between them in the second half.
Yeah, well, I think they got a total of 5 points in the game. I'm not sure if it was all in the second half, but they were excellent, absolutely brilliant performances there. David Brady in the middle of the field gave a
man of the match performance and won a man of the match award.
Yeah.
Just to bring it back to the first half, although Antrim were set up very defensively and they had it done very well, I noticed from listening to you on the radio, Cavan had 7 or 8 wides in the first half, and it was probably down to frustration more than anything. That is that what it was?
It was.
In that they were being, you know, they were being forced out to the sides and back out to the centre around the midfield area.
Forced to shoot under pressure, panic shots, you know, shots from out near sideline, shots from outside the 45.
Not within the shooting area.
Yeah. Now David Brady scored 2 points in the first half outside the 45. Just beautiful scores, but there's not too many county minors are capable of doing it. So it shows his quality. Like
one of the things Terry Hyland said about him was that he loves the way the strike of a ball that he has. He says he's a wonderful striker of a ball.
Absolutely beautiful. Like it really is. It's a talent to watch, and he's one to watch. He is probably one that and it's been a while since I've seen it in Cavan minors that you could say he could transition next year onto the county senior team. Right. Like he really could. He's that good.
Well, hopefully they won't put that pressure on him.
No. I'd like to see him get his time with county under 21s first. But
it's funny. I saw him against Ballyhaise played Cavan Gaels in an under-16 game.
And you mentioned it on this show.
I mentioned it on this show, and I took notes that day on my phone about him because I saw him playing against Cavan Gaels in an under-16 game. It was 2 years at
3 years ago.
3 years ago,
yeah.
And he was only 15 or 14 at the time,
yeah.
And he was playing full forward, and he nearly won that game on his own against Cavan Gaels. He scored 3 goals and 4 points in the space of 10 minutes in the second half or something when they moved him into full forward, and they couldn't deal with him. And I says, geez, this is definitely one to watch, because I think he was playing a year or 2 years above his age group, so he was at the time. Like, so
absolutely brilliant talented
just
footballer. So it was very impressive that Cavan, obviously everybody looks at Thomas Edward Donohoe to be the main man in there. He had a difficult day. He was very well marked, but the quality that they have. Robbie Fitzpatrick then ended up scoring a goal and 3 to compensate for it. Dara Gannon then, he hit 5 points, 3 frees, 2 from open play.
Well, see, having the likes of Thomas Edward Donohoe in your full forward line means that you've already got 2 defenders that are taken up.
Occupied.
Yeah. So that means that there's space for your other forwards. And he's the type of footballer that he would sacrifice his game. He'd keep going and he'd drag players around the pitch to leave space for others.
I was just going to say that. There was times when he was out around the middle of the field, there was times when he was in the half-back line. Yeah. He done everything he could to keep on getting himself free, and he got on a lot of ball. He still got on a lot of ball. What he brought into this one was that he started to use it, started to pass the ball around, so that, he probably where he won the ball was too far out to shoot. So he said, right, well, if they're going to double up on me in here, I'll create the space. And it was a very team sort of ethic that he brought to it, and credit to him and credit to all the lads around him. Ryan O'Neill had a difficult day as well. It probably just didn't go his way as much as it did in the Monaghan game, but it shows the strength in the panel that Cavan don't have to rely on 1 or 2 or 3 players just to play well. I thought Conor Brady was excellent in the middle of the field as well, for a lad who has another year at minor. He does a lot of the donkey work. He does a lot of the hard running. Does
David Brady have another year at minor?
No, this is last year. This is a third year playing county minor.
Yeah.
So this is his last year. But I thought an excellent game all round. Excellent second half performance. Excellent performance by the management. They really stepped up, and I'd have confidence now in Danny Brady going and delivering us more than just, maybe minor success. I think Danny Brady has shown that he has the capability to go on another step with management, and I was delighted to see that. And obviously,
it'd be great to see him following this team and bring them on to under 21s, and then you never know after that where he could go. But he's definitely.
I'd like to see him have a couple of years at minor, and maybe 2 or 3 years, because there's success in it, and he has he's given confidence to the players. He's so calm and collected in what he's trying to tell them, that it's easy to understand for them. So it was a wonderful performance. There's no point in just picking out a few players. Everybody did put in a good shift. They worked extremely hard. Subs that came on, I'm just trying to think, Louis Fay Cooper, as we mentioned, came on. Rhys Clark came on. Paul Leddy came on. Connor Smith came on. He was very good as well when he came on. There was another substitute used now. I'm just trying to think. Oh, it might have been Stuart Dunn. I'm not 100% sure, but like the bench there, just looking down through it, the players that I don't think. Sorry, Peter Corrigan come on as well from Kingscourt. That was it. Stuart Dunn didn't get a run. He's a phenomenal talent. Stephen Smith from Crushlaw, Pierce's younger brother, another wonderful talent. Like and Fimber McAvenny from Arva, another great footballer. And as Danny said to me after the game, he says, we have 10 more lads or 12 more lads, I can't remember how many, he said, that couldn't tug out, and he says they're as good as the lads that are on the team. He couldn't emphasise the panel enough, because it is so strong. So you were missing from the last day Owen Cooney out with an injury. Dara Kennedy has been mentioned a number of times to come back in. That's only 2.
He's not far away from being ready, I believe.
Yeah. So actually a phenomenal performance, phenomenal panel being built there. Well done to all involved. I can't say enough about it.
What it means now is that Cavan march on to an Ulster final, which is absolutely fantastic. We mentioned that already, but it's July the 19th. It's more than likely going to be Clonus, preceding the Ulster Senior Championship final, which will see Monaghan taking on either Donegal or Derry, more than likely Donegal.
And then Cavan taking on either Donegal or Derry.
Or Donegal or Derry is right in the minor match. So well done to all involved, and it's absolutely wonderful to see that we are going to be in an Ulster final in Clonus.
Indeed. Another interesting stat, actually, or piece of information that I came across, I can't remember who told it to me, but
did you time how long the ball was in play for that match?
No, I didn't. I didn't have time.
I thought that might have been.
I'd be doing well, but no. Cavan are fourth favourites for the All Ireland in minor level, which is behind Dublin, Kerry, and Donegal. Donegal are favourites for the All Ireland. Then you've Dublin and Kerry. It's wonderful that we're up in that bracket. You know that at any age group. Minor, we were, or under 21, we'd have been up around that bracket as well. But it's Cavan all the time now. We're punching with the big
conveyor
teams.
belt. It's great to see it. And these players, the more times that they play against these top players, the better they'll become, and the more likely it is that in a few years' time we're going to be competing at the top levels and competing for All Irelands.
It's also it was interesting to note Cavan seniors played Dublin in a challenge match a few weeks back. Only beaten by 3 or 4 points, but it was Dublin who came to Cavan looking for the challenge match. That says a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll move on. The Cavan ladies were in the first round of the Ulster Championship on Saturday down in Brewster Park. It was at 1 p.m. We had Conor Barry last week, and unfortunately the Cavan ladies came out with a heartbreaking defeat here. A 1-point loss after extra time. You were down at this game. It finished 1 goal and 12 points to Tyrone and 14 points to Cavan. How difficult was that to take?
Oh, it was very difficult to take them because, in fairness, the girls deserved a win here. I think, and Tyrone set themselves up very defensively. They have taken a lot of bad beatings in Division 1 this year, and they got a new manager in just about 6 weeks ago, Tiffy Quinn, Christopher Quinn I think is his name, but they call him Tiffy, and he obviously says, right, well, what we're going to do is we're going to stop you from taking trouncings, and if we can sneak a win, we'll sneak a win, and that's what they did. Or that's what they did. That's what they done. They totally stole the win away from Cavan. They set up with 13 players behind the ball. They had in their own half all the time. Cavan had a lot of possession. Just probably didn't use it well. They were shooting under pressure. They were shooting from wrong angles instead of working the ball back across and over to the place where there was a bit of space and whatever. And they had chances to win this game. Cavan, the Tyrone goalkeeper Shannon Lynch made some phenomenal saves during the game. There was one period of play where there was 3 shots on goal that she saved. The third one coming from Aisling Doon, and the first one came from Roisin O'Keefe. Then the follow-up was from, I think it could have been Katrina Smith or Grania Smith, and then the ball fell to Aisling Doon, and she took it on her left foot. It looked like it was sneaking into the bottom corner. The goalkeeper looked like she got a hand on it, and it went out to the right and wide, and it was given as a wide instead of a goal. Jesus. During the second half of the game, Cavan went 3 points up with only a few minutes to go, but there was an issue with the clock. The clock stopped for injury, so it does. Okay. And at one stage after an injury, they didn't start the clock again. So there was an issue with the clock. So the referee said there was going to be a few minutes extra to be played and whatever. And so nobody knew how long was left on the clock.
Which is difficult when you're used to a scenario where you know that there's 30 seconds left on that clock. That's all we're playing.
That's it. Absolutely. But Cavan pushed on the second half. They went in at half time leading by 2 points. They pushed on, and with maybe 5-6 minutes to go, they were 10 points to 7 up. And it looked good during that period as well. Tyrone had a girl sin binned, and all of a sudden Tyrone started to push on, and Cavan brought on a couple of subs, like Donna English wasn't started. She was carrying an injury. There was a few injuries, Joanne Moore and a few others.
What was the starting team, you mind me asking?
The starting team for Cavan was Jennifer Kane and Lavi, Rachel Jordan, Laura Fitzpatrick and Emma McDermott. Then we had Emma was injured, and she was replaced on 16 minutes by Shauna Lynch of Crutcher Law. Sheila Riley, absolutely. Sheila Riley, wing half back, Ronnie McLeod, centre half back and captain, and Sinead Green, who again she went off as well, injured towards the end of the game. She took some big hits.
It's a big blow.
Took
She's
big hits. Middle of the field was Mona Sheridan and Rosie Crowe. Half forward line was Sarah Murray, Aisling Doonan and Shona King. And then we had Roisin O'Keefe, Grania Smith and Katrina Smith. In the first half, very, very strong team. And the thing about it was they played very well in the first half. It was just some simple things like ball handling. It was frustration creeping in. The fact that they were surrounded by Tyrone players and whatever. I think Aisling Doonan ended up with 10 points.
Wow.
So she did, of the Cavan's 13.
In ordinary time. In 14.
After extra time. Because this game went to extra time. They were 10 points to 7 up with a few minutes to go. Tyrone came back, drew level on about 28 minutes. Cavan had a free from about 45 metres and would practically the last kick of the game. And Aisling Doonan had the ball, and had she known that time was nearly up, she would have went for the point. But she didn't know how long was left, so she took a quick free, tried to work it up, and the referee blew the final whistle, and it went to extra time. And in extra time, the goal came on 5 minutes in the first half of extra time. It was a goal by a substitute, Siobhan Sheeran from Glenelly. She got the goal, and we always said, myself and Alan Gunn, that a goal would change this game. The centre half forward for Tyrone, Gemma Begley, was outstanding throughout, and the lovely little footballer there in the corner forward, Jolene Duffy, she had a good game as well. But you know, Cavan will be very disappointed. I know, speaking to them afterwards, that they were extremely disappointed because the referee was very poor on the day as well. There could have been a few sin bins for Tyrone. They were very hard hitting. Sinead Green had to go off with an injury. She took some woeful tackles, so she did. But and there was a couple of silly decisions like line balls for Cavan and stuff that didn't go their way that were definitely theirs. And then the referee playing advantage sometimes, not playing at other times. There's no advantage in ladies football, and he gave it. It was just one of them days where nothing went right for Cavan. But look, these girls will bounce back. The qualifiers will be announced at the end of July. I think it's around the 20th. Yeah, it's around the 27th of July. And I do know
that's another big long break. That calendar has to be sorted out.
I know. I was speaking to a couple of people today. A lot of girls from the Cavan team have been rang from teams in New York to see if they'd be interested in going. And I know for a fact, I was speaking to one girl off the team, Grania Smith, is going to New York in the next few weeks for the summer. So that'll be a huge loss to the Cavan team. But they do have a big panel. That's great. You know,
they do.
So,
they definitely do. But that calendar has to be sorted out. That's too long of a break. And you know, where's the momentum going to come from? You know, you're starting a brand new competition. You might as well be starting a new season. Yeah. That's disappointing. But look, at hard luck to the Cavan ladies. No doubt they'll bounce back because they have quality. Like even looking down at the subs that are available on that team, it's phenomenal quality. And even if a couple do go to America or go away for the summer, they still have an abundance of talent that can give them a good rattle in that senior championship.
Well, hopefully the nucleus of it stays together, and hopefully that not too many more after Grania head off to America, because you know they need to get a couple of wins under their belt in that senior championship. You know,
it will be
and
great.
They could definitely do it.
The Cavan on the 14 ladies have qualified for the All-Ireland final after Galway were disqualified for playing an illegal player. So they now face Cork in the final, and that's on the 4th of July. So look, congratulations to the Cavan ladies. It was an issue over registration. So it's it's a harsh lesson, but Galway were given the chance to organise their ship and didn't take it.
Yeah,
so
it's very harsh on the girls, on the players involved in Galway, but it's not their fault.
No.
It's down to management and the county board.
Exactly.
You know, and there was one girl in particular that was definitely not registered, and I believe now today that, from speaking to another lady, that there might be a few more players that they have issues with on that panel and that weren't. But it's very wrong that a county board can get that wrong at that age group, because it's not fair. You know,
well, you can't expect 14-year-olds or 13-year-olds to go and organise their own registration. So, like whoever it was, that's their fault, and it's a shame. But it's good for Cavan because, and it's good. It'll be a good experience for those Cavan girls to go out and play Cork, because they were very, very close. It took extra time for them to be
should have
separated.
won it, I believe, as well in normal time.
Yeah. So like that's
well done.
It's not as if they're they were coming up against a team that they weren't good enough to beat, and then all of a sudden now they're being handed the game. They were good enough to beat Galway. They deserve the chance at the All-Ireland final now because they played by the rules. They done everything right. So
exactly. Yeah.
Fair play to them.
The rules are there for.
We hope maybe next week we might have some of the under-14s in on the show, all going well, and in preparation for their Ulster final, or maybe some of the management.
For their All-Ireland final.
All-Ireland final, my apologies.
Yes, we're just used to saying Ulster finals.
That's it, we say it so often.
So next up, the Cavan seniors were taking on London, the Exiles, over in Ruislip. Damien was at this game with Northern Sound. Cavan won this on a scoreline of 2 goals and 12 points to London's 11 points. A convincing win for Cavan in London, Damien, and it's job well done, you know, because it was the type of game where you can't win.
No.
You know what I mean?
But having said that, I do think that this is a win. This is a real win, because I said it last week on the show, if we win by 5-6 points, I'm happy. I thought that was a good enough win, because Roscommon went over, and not knowing last Monday what I know now, I thought, well, listen, Roscommon are a damn good team. They're after getting promotion Division 2 to Division 1, and London drew them close. It was only 8 points in it, so there's going to be nothing easy over there. Now, to be perfectly honest, and not being no disrespect to London, the 17-point victory doesn't flatter Cavan. They were easily 17 points a better team, and maybe more, you know, and it probably wasn't any benefit to Cavan to play that game, and that's the disappointing thing. Now, London were relying on their midfield and Mark Gotcha to get on a lot of ball in order to supply it into Lurker Mulvey at full forward, and they just weren't getting it. They were being dominated. Now, they did send their midfielder Martin Carroll out to man mark Road McKiernan again, same as we saw Monaghan do with Neil McAdam. Martin Carroll was asked to go out and man mark Road McKiernan, which meant that he couldn't go and try and win ball. He had to watch Road McKiernan all the time. So Gotcha was coming out to give their other midfielder Bradley a helping hand. He wasn't getting enough ball to get it into Mulvey, so then they had to bring out Mulvey to try and get on ball. And then when Mulvey was getting on the ball, he was too far from goals to make any impact, and their inside men just weren't really strong enough to make any sort of a dent. Jason McLaughlin was excellent in at cornerback, and actually Darren McVeety was playing in the other cornerback position, and they were that bit more comfortable in there. So it was a good win for Cavan, some very good displays. Gerard McKiernan finally got used to, which was a strange thing, and you don't see it too often, a midfielder being man-marked, being just completely man-marked. And what he did was basically played as a forward. He said to Carroll, right, well, if you're just going to man-mark me, you're not going to join the attack when London go on it. I'm going to stay up in the forward line here. And it afforded him loads of space, and he played it very, very intelligently. Brilliant. I was delighted to see him. Just chatting to him after the game, you know, he was disappointed with his performance in the Monaghan game. And as I was saying, but sure, who sees a midfielder going out to try to man mark? He said that it shocked me. I didn't expect it. I thought it'd give me attention, all right, but I didn't think he'd just stay in me shorts the whole hour and 10 minutes long. But he said I got used to it, and it meant that I had to think about that for the next game. So it was good that the London player probably went out and done the exact same thing for him,
because he knows now how to
deal with it. Because he at parts of the game he was playing a full forward for us, you know, alongside Michael Argue, and Cavan were playing in long ball, and you had a Twin Towers threat in there all the time. It was very, very good. I was very happy with the Cavan display. Niall Murray done a very good job on Mark Gotcha. I know people were saying to me, but listening to you on the radio, Mark Gotcha was on a lot of ball. He was, but he was on it out the field, and he never got by Murray. And his game is get by a man and deliver a pass. Yeah. But he couldn't get by Murray. All his passes had to go sideways, left, right, backwards. He couldn't get by Murray. And then Murray's attacking threat from the centre half back position was brilliant. He was driving forward.
We said it about Niall Murray this year. Niall Murray is probably, for me, I've watched them all this year, and he's probably one of the most improved players on that senior panel.
Definitely.
And it's wonderful to see, because I have to say he's an exceptional player. His attitude towards training and playing and working to be a better player is absolutely phenomenal, because he's always learning. he always knows that there's more to learn and there's more. You can always do more, and
he works so hard. You can see he's building up. He's getting upper body strength. He's obviously doing work there. We've seen in New York his physicality was tested, and I think that made him. I think that improved him a lot because he loves the rough stuff now. Yeah. He seems to be thriving on it, and that's what you need at county senior level.
He knows he's going to get hit. He knows he's going to be all right after. Yes, that's the way it is. And if more players could realise that, and not at county level, but in general, that you're going to get big hits. You're going to get walloped. You're going to be okay after it. You're going to be sore, but you'll be grand.
That's it. The disappointing thing, I suppose, is that Rory Dunn and Killian Clark picked up injuries.
Yeah. I spoke to Terry about that, so I did. So,
we'll have a look at that interview after. But I suppose on the positive side of it, we're blessed with options now. Everybody would be saying, right, Rory Dunn's out. He is our fullback. He's Cavan's fullback, and has made that position his own. Killian Clark would be a damn good second option, but he mightn't have even been your second option because you have James McEnroe, who is so talented in there, capable, physically strong enough, good in the air, quick. He's probably more versatile than the options that we have. Once James is in there and can not give away any scoreable frees, he is going to be brilliant in there. If he's the one who's given the nod, because I thought about it last night. You have other options. The likes of Brian Sankey is on that panel there, and I think he's a man that could do a job at fullback for Cavan if called upon as well. So there's not.
Funny you mentioned him because Terry mentioned him when I asked him,
and that's not staged at all. That is genuine. I did not know that. I didn't know that. But he is a man that could come in there and look at there's more options. But it's good to see Cavan progressing the panel. The panel has got very, very strong, and it was proven by Cian Mackey not starting and James McEnroe not starting at the weekend. It wasn't because of injuries. It was maybe just a dip in their form.
And other lads, maybe a lift in other lads' form,
exactly,
who have excelled at training and whatever. Because at this time of the year, this is when you really want to be peaking and getting into good form in football. And there is a lot of players in that team. Niall Murray obviously is obviously putting in huge effort, as I can only imagine, and he's obviously impressing at training sessions.
Yeah, I have to say I was very impressed with some of the subs to come on. Enda Riley was absolutely brilliant for me. Now I thought his movement was excellent when he received the ball. I think he scored 2 points. Lovely scores. We know he's capable of scoring, but he's worked hard. He looks quicker. He looks like he can get away from a man now, and just chatting to him after, he's putting in a huge effort. And Terry alluded to it after the game that he's been playing brilliantly at training. That's why he got his chance, and that's great to see. The big question people are starting to ask now, and it's nuts. Well, it's not nuts. It's probably warranted. I'd have to say is Cian Mackey gone over the hill? Is he capable of getting back up to that level? He hasn't played to his potential. Now he's had a horrible run of injuries from last year, the start of last year.
Is he capable of getting up to that fitness this year in this championship? Because he's only come back this year, and he's come back late in the year as well. That's probably what
it's a worrying thing for people. Can he get up to that level? But I suppose it shows the quality that's coming through, that Cian can be afforded to be left on the bench.
At one stage I remember listening to you, and you were saying that Cian Mackey was taking on two of his lads, two of the London players, and he was at full tilt, and then he went into another gear.
Paul actually said that. He looked like he was at full tilt and then just dropped up into another gear and put on the bonus. So he still has that speed. I think he still has the ability to be the top shelf footballer, to be the marquee forward the Cavan need. I just think he needs to go up another gear. But I remember I was over Cian Mackey at under 16 level for county, and I remember dealing with him because I was dropping him home after a game and saying to him how he's a brilliant footballer at that point, but you're probably a little bit too reliant on your right foot. You need to be able to go onto the left foot to show, and maybe you just don't have a left foot, so start working on it. And Cian, being the type of person that he was, the next game went out and scored 4 points on his left foot just to show me I have a bloody left foot, and that's the sort of Cian Mackey, and that's what he's capable of doing. So
it's getting it out of him.
It's getting it out of him. So I'm putting the gauntlet down to Cian now at this point. Are you capable of stepping up another gear this year?
Well, you've got Roscommon in the qualifiers to prove him wrong now.
You do indeed. So
I'm right behind you, Cian.
Yeah, well, I'm there to kick you, so up the arse. I've no doubt he's capable. Let's see if he can bring a performance that is Cian Mackey capable. I think he has the talent to do it. He has the ability to do it, but he needs to step up for Cavan in the next few weeks.
You heard it here now.
The gauntlet has been laid down. But we have the interview that Micky done with Terry Hyland just earlier on this evening, actually. So it's a reaction, obviously, to the Cavan London game and to the qualifiers.
Yeah.
We're here in Ballyhaise at Hyland Hardware with Terry Hyland, the Cavan manager. Terry, a good win in London on the weekend.
Yes, it was satisfying from it was a good workout for the lads. Probably ended up a little bit one-sided, but sure, that's the way championship goes. It wasn't probably anybody's fault. It just our lads seemed to step up for the 70 minutes.
You had a couple of injuries as well during the game. Killian Clark went off, hamstring injury, I believe, again. And then you also had fullback Rory Dunn going down with an ankle injury. What's the update on both them injuries, Terry?
Well, Rory dislocated his ankle from what we can find. He's getting a scan on it this evening in Dublin. And also the same with Killian, he's getting a scan on it. So to the extent of the damage, you don't really know yet,
So how long do you reckon Rory will be out for? Will he be back for the Roscommon game? I doubt it.
I don't think so. No, it's not looking too good. There's going to be ligament damage no matter how, the ankle dislocated went back into place, but there'll be a lot of damage done to the ligaments. And
then Killian as well, a recurrence of a hamstring injury that's hampered him all year, really.
Yeah, well, again, we have to assess how bad it is. It's just one of them things. He's been kind of unfortunate with it. It seemed to be that, there was a bit of a dip on the ground when he was running and he overstretched himself. But, again, as I said, we'll have a look at it this evening.
The draw was done this morning, obviously, for the next round of the qualifiers. We've drawn Roscommon, who were quite, I suppose, friendly with over the last couple of years. What do you think of the draw yourself?
Yeah, well, look, it probably doesn't really matter who we get. Roscommon's a good team, and we're delighted to be playing a good team in the competition. That's when you go in the back door, you're going to meet good teams at any stage. The back door, the only thing in the back door is you get a quarter-final, a semi-final or a final. That's the only reward that's in it. There's no reward in it. Nobody's going to hand you a championship medal, so you're going to meet the good teams at some stage in it. Whether it's this Sunday or whether it's 2 Sundays down the line, it doesn't really matter.
I believe they have a couple of lads out as well. Well, Murta, I believe, is going to be out for the Cavan clash, and then Senan Kilbride, I believe he played with a bit of an injury against Sligo on the weekend and probably shouldn't have played.
Well, that was the talk, but they have 2 weeks to recover, so you can't really comment on who they will be there or who won't be there at this stage, but we'll wait and see.
It was a big shock as well, Sligo going out and beating Roscommon in the Connacht Championship. Do you think it was a bit of complacency on Roscommon's side?
Well, I don't know. It's funny, I was talking to a Roscommon man in London before the game was played, and I was kind of saying Roscommon should win that kind of a game, and he says, well, no, Roscommon don't like travelling to Macker's Park. They always find it difficult to beat Sligo there, and it turned out his words were true.
We lost to Roscommon last year in the qualifiers. It was a disappointing end to the championship last year. But having looked at it, last year when we played Roscommon, I think it was 11 players that hadn't played against Kerry in the quarter-final the year beforehand. So it was a depleted side that you put out against Roscommon last year, between lads going off to America as well and going on holidays.
Well, that's true, and whether you put it down, I wouldn't necessarily depleted side. Okay, we probably lost our shape and our balance because we had players to replace. It wasn't necessarily that the players were any worse or any better than was there beforehand, but the fact is that you lose balance when you lose players to certain areas, and we had to move lads around, and that's just what happened on that day. And
looking ahead to the Roscommon game, you're obviously going to be playing without the two boys by the looks of things now, depending on scans and whatever, but I suppose McEnroe, he slotted into full back. Do you reckon that'll be his position now for the next couple of games?
Well, we'll have a look at it in the next 2 weeks. Like James has played there before, he's played in the full back line before. Sankey has played in there at the underage level. Like, we have a few fellas we can look around and see who we can put in there over the next 2 weeks.
And then I suppose we'll just take it away from the senior team there for a couple of minutes. The minors had a fantastic win against Antrim. They made tough work of it. They had a hard first half against a very defensive Antrim side. Came out brilliantly in the second half and stormed to a victory.
Yeah, well, again, it was a game of 2 halves. I suppose it was a strong breeze blowing there yesterday. I think they deployed a sweeper in the second half, and I think that tightened up the defence and it allowed their half back line to move forward into attack. I think two wing half backs must have scored 6 to 7 points from play in the second half. So, you know, it did allow them to do that. They probably weren't playing a triple system, playing a flat 15 in the first half, and by doing that, it tightened the game up for them.
And David Brady put in a man of the match performance, a man from here in your own, well, not your own village, but your trading village, I suppose, of Ballyhaise.
Well, that's how David had a fine game all through, and when the Cavan team weren't going well, in fairness, he was keeping them in the game. You know, he's a fine player, and what I like about him, he's a great strike of a ball.
And then on a more serious note, I suppose, Terry, you have lost a couple of lads to the senior panel. Will you be looking to bring in a few lads? I know that there's a couple of lads doing very well at club level, even at club level down in Meath as well, Terry.
Yeah, well, no, we probably won't at this stage. Our panel is pretty settled for the year. I think it wouldn't be fair on anybody. You know, we may bring lads in to help us out with training sessions and things like that, but otherwise, no, I don't think we'll be extending the panel.
What about a fella who scores 6-15 in 3 games, Terry?
Junior B football doesn't really count.
Terry, look, it's always a pleasure, and thanks a million. And look, we'll be there for the game against Roscommon, and best of luck.
Thanks, Mickey.
Cheers, Terry.
Absolutely brilliant. That was a brilliant interview, I have to say. Very entertaining.
David hadn't seen the interview, so he hadn't before now.
Absolutely brilliant. You could see where you were going with it, so we could. I was talking to Terry Hyland yesterday in Kingspan Breffni Park, and you had sent me the text message about your game, and he came out with that Junior B comment, which was very, very funny. But I actually had to laugh. I'll tell this wee one. Seamus McEntee, you know, the cobbler in town.
Yes.
He was there chatting to us, with myself and Martin McGovern and Terry Hyland, and Brendan Devaney actually was there as well. But Seamus was chatting away, and out of nowhere he just said, "Do you know what, Terry? You carry that weight very well." And Terry was going, "Well, no, that's the best backhander I've ever got from you, Seamus."
But it's true.
He does. He carries the weight very well. So Mickey Graham was going, "Oh yeah, the tall boys get away with that. It doesn't work too well for me." So it does. It was very, very funny. Now, good old banter. But that was a good interview. Very, very well done.
Terry just you know, very honest on the injuries and the whole lot, and very honest on the Roscommon team, and you know, looking forward and the whole lot, and his comments about the minors as well. You know, he saw that. You know, it was funny when we went back then to the scene, like talking about the minors. He said very similar to what you had said, and then when we talked about the injury concerns and who'll slot in at full back, you mentioned McEnroe and Sankey as well. You know, like and it just shows you that, you know, that there's
backup there. Yeah, definitely. And I have to say, I like his comment about last year's Roscommon game. It wasn't a depleted team; it was just a different one. It was no worse, no better. And
it just wasn't a settled team. They weren't used to playing together as much as the team had been. You know, like there was a lot of.
This is the 5th meeting between Cavan and Roscommon in 18 months. I make it, which is just crazy. You don't see that too often at all. Like, we played them National League last year. We bet them. We played them in the National League final. We lost by a point or whatever it was in the end. Very close game. We played them in the qualifiers last year. We played them in the league, drew with them this year.
And we're meeting them again.
Like, it's five times. So, and again, this is a huge game. This becomes, to me, this becomes bigger than just the qualifiers, just the All-Ireland series. This is the future. This is Roscommon saying, well, we're winning on the 21s in Connacht, and us saying, well, we're winning on the 21s in Ulster, well, we're winning minors in Ulster, we're winning minors, and you know, we're on very, very similar paths going all the way through. And last year we were very much depleted when we played them, weren't depleted, we were very much unsettled when we played them. Changed, and this year we'll be a lot more settled, I think, than we were last year. Now they have a couple of injuries, but we're missing a few as well.
Absolutely,
like, we're not at full strength, so it's going to be defining this game, and
this will show who's learned most about the higher level of football, and you know, this is a crucial game. You know, and you know, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm happier that we got Roscommon now, I have to say. I think that to get Roscommon at this stage is a good draw for Cavan.
It's the exact same stage as we got them last year. We lost to Armagh, we bet Westmeath, and then we met Roscommon.
Oh, you're right.
This year we've lost to Monaghan by the single point.
Yeah.
We've beaten London, and now we're meeting Roscommon.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think it's a good point. I think it's a good stage to get Roscommon at, and they'll probably think the same, because the winners of this round 2A, the 4 winners that it produces, play each other. So, you know, you're meeting a team with a bit more confidence at that stage. So I think it's the time to meet them, and it could develop to be a good thing in the long term, but it's a wonderful draw, and that'll be the one everybody will be watching out of that 2A.
Oh yeah,
everyone's going to be watching that game.
It's the biggest clash out of all that 2A, so it is, and that game will be played on the 4th of July in Kingspan, Breffni Park, and the time is yet to be confirmed for that one.
It is indeed. It is.
Do we have a time and a venue for the Cavan Ladies under 14 All Ireland final?
Not yet.
No, just we have it up on the board there. Just checking we have it where and when we get that we will slot that in.
Question marks to be confirmed. So look, I think that's everything.
Is that everything covered?
I think
for
that
tonight?
is. Yeah. So that brings us to the end.
Hang on. We discussed nearly everything that Terry Hyland talked about, bar me scoring 6 goals and 15 points in 3 games in the space of 5 days.
So that brings us to the end of this week's show. Remember, if you want to get in contact with the show, we'd be delighted to hear from you, especially if your comments are related to Micky Brennan's county career.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was 2 goals and 5 points per game, but just to let you know.
You can email us at Gaelic Football Views
at gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook by searching Gaelic Football Views, or you can follow us on Twitter at Gaelic50. And I wouldn't mind, but I sat here and I complimented you on getting a win with Killing Care and beating Muncher and this is the way you repay me.
My compliments to you. My compliments to Colin O'Rourke, who's managing you extremely well at the minute. So he is.
No, he's not.
He's obviously getting the best out of you. So he is.
Our thanks to the backroom staff, as always. That is the one and only Mr. Brian Daly.
The entire staff is Mr. Brian Daly.
Yeah.
Because
every one of them is called Brian Daly.
Exactly.
There's 7 of them out there, all with the name of Brian Daly.
We all dream of a team of Brian Daly's, a team of Brian Daly's, a team of Brian Daly's.
No, actually, I'm not going to sing that with you. What do you want?
So look, until next week, it's good night and
God bless.
Cavan Crystal Hotel provides 4-star accommodation on the edge of Cavan town. Located conveniently on the Dublin Road, just 60 minutes away from Dublin. With 85 beautifully appointed bedrooms and a number of luxurious suites. We offer wedding packages. With our 1 wedding a day policy, we guarantee to make yours a special day. Enjoy a meal at our award-winning Opus One restaurant, or have a drink in the atrium or residence bars. Feeling energetic? You can work out in Zest Health and Fitness Club, or maybe pamper yourself and visit Utopia Health and Beauty Clinic, or Avita's Hair Salon, both located on site. Situated only 5 minutes from Cavan Town Centre and local amenities. Cavan Crystal Hotel, gateway to Ireland's Lakelands.